Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Greetings to you, Honorable Speaker of the Council, and all the councillors from our local councils, the speakers representing our local councils. Dikhatlela kubahlekazi, bukumkani babathembu, ubukumkani bamankolo asenyandeni, kunye nokumkanikazi amadosini, ubukumkani bamampondo, ubukumkani bamaXhosa asenqadu, ubukumkani bamabhaca, inkosi eziphuma kwikhontralesa, ubukhokheli bazo zikhokhelwe nguChief Nokhaka Tumba, the House of Traditional Leaders of the Eastern Cape, ukhokhelwe nguQueen Noluntu Danidyebo, amalungu eParlamente, amalungu eProvincial Legislatures, ndimbonile uChief Whip wase-Legislature ohloniphekileyo, Honorable Mhlanga, the MEC of Transport and Community Safety, the Provincial Commissioner, yafumana ukubizwa ngokukhawuleza ePitoli, nayo yonke i-delegation ekhokhelwe nguProvincial Commissioner, the Deputy Executive Mayor, the Executive Mayor of KSD, and all mayors of our local municipalities, the Honorable Chief Whip of our council, and all Chief Whips of our local municipalities, the Chair of Chairs, and all chairpersons of Section 79 committees, all members of the Mayoral Committee of OR Tambo, all councillors of the district municipality, abahlonitshwa, abantwana begazi, abaseva umasipala wase-OR Tambo kwicouncil yakhona, ngokukhokhelwa nguWhip we-Traditional Leaders ohlonipekileyo uTata Nkosi Utyhali, the board members of Ntinga ngokukhokhelwa nguChairperson weboard uTata Mase, leaders of the faith-based organizations ndingazahlula-hlulanga ngokukhokhelwa yichaplains yase-OR Tambo, the members of the Mandela family who committed and confirmed that they will be with us today, Hloniphekileyo Nkosi uMandla Nondaba, the political organizations led by the ANC and its alliance, and all political parties that serve in the Council of OR Tambo, the stalwarts and veterans of the liberation movement, the trade union leaders, the leadership of the unions, the judiciary, the director of National Public Authority, the CEO of the National Heritage Council, Advocate Mangcwatshwa, the CEO of MISA, Mr. Vimba, the municipal manager of OR Tambo, the Tinga CEO, senior managers, and all the municipal managers from our municipalities, the managers, and all the officials of OR Tambo, the CEO of USASA, Mr. Mtimde, the regional manager of ECDC, Mr. Matubela, the government departments and all the agencies of government, the principals of St. John's College, Mr. Magaka and Holy Cross, Ms. Notango, representatives of our development partner from the private sector, including Anglo Gold Ashanti, the Nceba Group, Vodacom, Standard Bank, and all other banking institutions. The institutions of higher learning that we are partners with from all over the Eastern Cape, the representatives of the OR Tambo Chamber of Business, my special guest, Chief Gwebing Mele, Kosu Vusango Bulo, Kosu Vusango Kwadiso, Mrs. Kuza, who is the manager of SARS, Nebagaz Salukana, who is one of the young, dedicated girls of this district, the police band and traffic officers who contributed to making this day as beautiful as it is today. Miss OR Tambo, Onalo Zungu, the NGOs, people of OR Tambo, members of the media, fellow compatriots, friends, family. I saw my kids here earlier on, the community of OR Tambo District Municipality, the leadership from the neighboring districts. I saw the mayor of Itabangulu and all other leaders that I may not have seen. UCR, as we speak, in Konjane, Afemzo, Kifngesi Radio, Fugani Radio, we are live. Ndiyabulisa kubo bonke abantu base-OR Tambo nabantu baseMpuma Koloni nakuMzantsi Afrika kuba nomhlobo wenene uyasivakalisa njengoba siqhuba nje. As we were declared by the President during the State of the Nation address in February this year, that this year is the year of Oliver Reginald Tambo. To speak of the late OR Tambo is to speak of a towering intellectual with unparalleled leadership virtues. He remains a source of inspiration to all of us and a figure that we must strive to emulate. It is indeed our immense honor and a privilege to dedicate this State of the District address to the President, Mr. Oliver Reginald Tambo, who we are named after as this institution. This report we are giving to the people of OR Tambo District today is taking place under the theme 2017, the year of heightened service delivery in honor of President Tambo. This theme is instructive to all of us, all those who are in the employ of this institution, be it councillors or officials. We must make sure that we promote, maintain, and hold a high standard of professional ethics. Use resources of the people of OR Tambo District in an efficient, economic, and effective manner. Be always development-oriented. Provide services impartially, fairly, equitably, and without bias to all the people of OR Tambo District. Work to encourage the people of OR Tambo to participate in policy making and be accountable. OR Tambo would have turned 100 years old on 27th of October this year had he continued to live. What is seldomly mentioned is that this year also marks 50 years since Tambo assumed the reins of leadership in the ANC. He took over after the passing of Chief Albert Luthuli in July 1967. President OR Tambo selflessly dedicated his life to the liberation of the people of South Africa, regardless of color, creed, or partisan political affiliation. He was the glue that held the various strands of the National Democratic Revolution together for almost 30 years. Brought back the ANC intact after decades of exile. Ngalibala njani somlomo ukubulisa abantwana besikolo ngenzeka ukuba bakhona apha phakathi kwethu. Ngokukhethekileyo intombi zenkciyo endikhe ndazibona nomntana oye wayiphakamisa iflag yoMzantsi Afrika waphuma wangunumber 1 eSouth Africa esuka apha eMthatha eKSD eHoly Cross Senior Secondary School. We celebrate OR Tambo's memory today because he remains one of the most outstanding leaders that this country has ever produced. The purpose of celebrating exceptional leaders like Tambo is not to wallow in the glory of our past, but to use the past as a means to inspire our future growth as a nation. We must celebrate excellence in leadership as means of recognizing the positive contribution that outstanding leaders make in our society. This also helps us to preserve our stories of posterity. We have the duty to preserve our heritage so that future generations understand the significance of the sacrifices that were made for us to be where we are today. The obvious question that is often asked on occasions like this is, what would Tambo do or say with regards to the challenges that confront our society today? My humble attempt at answering this question draws from the principles that Tambo stood for and cherished in his lifetime. The question also compels us to weigh our performance as government and the country in relationship to the vision, values, and principles that Tambo espoused. Tambo was sent to exile by the national leadership of the ANC after the Sharpeville massacre in 1960. His mission in exile was loud and clear: to establish a foreign mission and escalate the struggle to an international level. He identified Moses Kotane, J.B. Marks, and Duma Nokwe as trusted and capable cadres to assist him in building the movement in exile. This formidable team was only strategic in waging a strong fight against the apartheid regime, but it also established a solid foundation for the tripartite alliance. Honorable Speaker, for Tambo, a devout Christian who was on the verge of being ordained as an Anglican priest before he went to exile, to nominate staunch communists, Kotane and Marx, to work closely with him, was a reflection of a visionary leader that he was. He understood that ideological differences cannot stand in the way of revolution. Those who were fortunate to get to know and interact with Tambo always tell us that our Tambo was a dynamic and multi-dimensional being. He had very diverse interests that were by no means contradictory with his core principles. Today we celebrate Tambo, a maths and science teacher, a lawyer, a devout Christian, an internationalist, a global leader, a unifier, a revolutionary, a music composer, a loving husband and responsible father, to name but a few. In short, we celebrate a courageous leader who selflessly devoted his life in service of the people of South Africa. We're always told that any interaction with our Tambo was an unforgettable experience. Our Tambo is and will always be remembered as the epitome of incisive leadership, intellect, and high moral standards. While he was respected for being such a colossal figure in the liberation movement, our Tambo's humility and quiet wisdom gave these people a sense of comfort around him. He proved to be a compassionate human being that made people understand that they were listened to, because he was a great listener and valued diverse opinions. Akusherwa nathi ngomongameli be-African National Congress, bathi beyiyeka inhlanganiso iqhuba iintsuku ezinhlanu ye-NEC uba ubemmamela each and every muntu othethayo kwi-NEC meeting, ehlonipha zonke ii-views, aqiniseke those who came to meetings with divergent views get out of the meeting convinced on the decision that is taken in a more democratic way. He was also a hands-on revolutionary, the leader who was never scared to get his hands dirty. During one campaign, Tambo, alongside James Chigarema, the Vice President of Zimbabwean African People's Union, was in the trenches and personally saw off the Lutuli detachment as they crossed the Zambezi River to wage one of the fiercest attacks against South African Defence Force and its allies. As a visionary leader, Tambo was able to anticipate the kind of challenges that we would face as the governing party, as opposed to the liberation movement. He knew that the mere jettisoning of apartheid was not going to transform ours into utopian society. He wanted us to be ready for the transition and confront the challenges of governance. He sounded the alarm bells to the ANC cadres in Angola as far back as 1977. I quote, "Comrades, you might think it is very difficult to wage a liberation struggle. Wait until you are in power." And he said, maybe by then we'll be dead. You will realize that it is actually more difficult to keep the power than to wage a liberation war, close quote. This articulation was so well represented, and I am sure later today we'll also experience a group of the young girls of Intiyo when they will be doing their drama, talking about OR Tambo, sharing to us the quote that I just shared with this meeting. Must pay heed to Tambo's warning and work together in developing a truly liberated, non-racial, united and equal society. Our country is currently facing a litany of challenges that require us to join hands and march in unison towards our common destination of a better and more prosperous South Africa. Honorable Speaker, it is no doubt that one of Tambo's most outstanding traits was the one that he said he was a unifier. The most fitting tribute that we can pay to him is to reinforce unity, social cohesion, and nationhood among all South Africans. Let us uphold the values and the vision that Tambo stood for. Allow me, Honorable Speaker, to talk to the incidents of the gender-based violence that started right here in our district in Lusikisiki, in Ngquza Hill Municipality. The cold-blood murder of young women by a boyfriend over infidelities is despicable, to put it mildly. The plethora of murder of young women must be a call to all of us, men and women, to stand up against this atrocity. On social media, in response to these incidents, many women have shared horrific experiences of abuse, often suffered at the hands of their partners. And according to a Childline, 1 in 3 young people experience a sexual abusive incident, most often by someone known to them. Sonke Gender Justice says that femicide in South Africa is 5 times the global rate. There are multiple social factors which create the context for this kind of violence. South Africa's history is one in which the dignity of men and women was systematically undermined. One consequence of that leads to this is that the women of this country have came to accept the abuse inflicted on them as something that is normal and is meant to be. Simultaneously, some men who feel disempowered may seek to gain an interior sense of power by abusing those more vulnerable than themselves, namely women and children. We are also grappling with poverty, drug abuse, and cultural violence, and a society which is deeply patriarchal. The situation also points to a moral and spiritual bankruptcy in our society, in which the value placed on human life and women's lives in particular has been eroded. The fact that people can inflict such torture and harm upon another human being, and sometimes to someone they claim to love, can only be the result of deeply distorted sense of self and the dignity to other people. As a society, we need to work together to provide support to women, children, and men affected by sexual violence. We need to create a counterculture in which the dignity of each person with flesh, blood, soul, and bones is seen and honored. We need to both act by challenging the status quo and by working to address the multiple root causes of gender-based violence within the society and within our homes. Furthermore, we must critically examine the often patriarchal language we use and the ways in which women are often treated in family contexts, as this too contributes to a culture in which gender-based violence can flourish. We must not just pray for all those affected by gender-based violence as we did yesterday, but must act to undermine all those whose sense of self has become so distorted that they have lost all sense of value and dignity of the other. Honorable Speaker, this session convenes just a month after we went through an intensive, open conversation with citizens across the district. From the citizens of OR Tambo district, we received a mandate for the upcoming financial year and a base for the term of office. With the help of our people, we now can imagine the best possible OR Tambo District Municipality in 5 years to come. And as such, we understand the choices we have to make to get there. The result of the interactions with the people of OR Tambo takes us to 2022 IDP, a covenant between you, the citizens, and your district. This was a covenant to enable and build a new economic democracy, drawing directly on our 2016 manifesto. The tide has turned, and our journey became irreversible. At the height of our people's final march to freedom, they sang a song that rallied all behind and called to go to Pretoria. They sang, "Siyaya ePitori," we are going to Pretoria. Theirs was not only an announcement of an imminent arrival in Pretoria, it was also a declaration of their path to power and their state of readiness to govern. And it had to start in Pretoria, the capital of apartheid South Africa. Since time immemorial, the microcosm of statehood and the existence of a sovereign were determined by the state of its capital city. The conquest of any nation was incomplete without annexing its capital city. We declare for all to know that this address, therefore, is not just about state of the district, but about the state of service delivery center named after a man who this year would have been turning 100 years had he lived longer. Honorable Speaker, our assembly this morning occurs on a significant year and a milestone for the people of our country, the centenary of Tambo. To the citizens of our district, at whose directive we serve, as we take stock and rejoice in the triumphs and accomplishment of the past 23 years, we should never for a single moment lose sight of where we are going and what it will take to get there. That then is a strategic organizing logic that saturates and encircles our fundamental statement of intent on this occasion of 2017 State of the District Address. We are also highly privileged to have among us today veterans of our struggle, the veterans of the National Liberation Movement. We are deeply enthused about the presence in the house of the Madiba family, the core of our leadership that were the guiding lanterns in leading our nation towards its democratic future. These are the finest and most illustrious personages that played a critical role in assisting us to liquidate the apartheid system and denounce it as a crime against humanity. As a country, as a people, we are endlessly indebted to the sacrifices made by these eminent leaders for the freedoms and liberties that we enjoy today. In this, it means that we need to honor and make sure that we pledge to spare neither strength nor courage to see to it that their selfless efforts and sacrifices become trans-historical monuments of justice, equality, humanism, and developmentalism. Mr. Speaker said, notwithstanding the fact that the local government system in South Africa is just over 16 years old, I petition for your indulgence to briefly reflect on what our Tambo district has been able to achieve in the years of freedom and democracy in South Africa. In 1994, the new democratic government, and by extension, local government, inherited a political, social, economic, and geographic system defined by immense racial imbalances in which the poor African majority had severely limited or no access to basic services such as water, electricity, sanitation, roads, and so on. The findings of the 20-year review undertaken by government in 2014 established, among other realities, that the white-controlled urban councils experience servicing and delivery standards greater than most parts of the country. The principal task of the new democratic government was therefore to address extensive backlogs, reduce inequalities, target specific areas for investment in new infrastructure, and place our Tambo district and subsequently the country on a higher trajectory. In the context of our Tambo district, The spatial repercussions of such effects are most acute, especially given its vast territory as a rural district, the largest jurisdictional district in the Eastern Cape. For these reasons, the delivery of infrastructure and its accompanying governance structures within the district has undergone an incredible transformation over the few years. The strategic purpose of such transformation was to move away from infrastructure provision regime intended for the select few and minority of the population to one that caters for the interests of the entire population, irrespective of color, gender, and geographical location. In the global economy of the 21st century, it is increasingly being argued that jurisdictions function primarily to generate regional and national prosperity. On strengthening our economy, Mr. Speaker, managing the post-apartheid economy is complex, partly because the excesses and policy errors of the latter years of apartheid left the country close to bankruptcy. There were no foreign exchange reserves, public debt had rocketed, and inflation was in the upper terms, and there was plummeting investment levels. While there were many arguments on the appropriate economic trajectory to be adopted, the fact was that the decline had to stop. As a result of various policy interventions, the country successfully stabilized the economy, improved the confidence of domestic and foreign investors, rebuilt its reputation among lenders, brought down inflation and restored the health of ailing public finances. This was made possible by the inherent sophistication of South Africa's banking system. Allow me, Honourable Speaker, to give report on provision of water and sanitation. As a district, we are hard at work to bring major change in relation to how we bring water and sanitation services to the people of Ward Tambo. Our quest to have our people enjoy universal access to water is bearing fruits, with a significant increase in the number of people and households now enjoying what was a privilege during the apartheid dispensation. Honourable Speaker, the tragedies of apartheid South Africa was that the majority of our people had no access to clean drinkable water. We know that our country is not the most water rich, and current projections indicate that by 2025, South Africa will approach or face physical water scarcity, depending upon the measure utilized. We therefore continue to encourage the water users to use water sparingly. Over the last term of 2011 to 2016, we have provided access to water to 22,345 households within the district, adding up to the accumulative figure of 214,924 out of the total number of households of 323,230. This means then we are at 66.5 of the households that have access to the basic water supply. Within these households, almost 33% of the total district households receive free basic water supply due to their economic position and nature of service provided in terms of communal pipes. In the ensuing term of office, we will accept no mediocre. The services must go to the people of Ward Tambo. Water will have to be delivered to the people of Ward Tambo district in an unprecedented manner. In this term of office, we'll put together a project management office that will be a driving factor in expediting water services to our communities. Bulk water supply schemes continue to be a key priority of the district. Even in this term, we'll make sure that we accelerate the implementation of bulk water supply. Various strategic regional and bulk schemes have been executed, and these are currently in various stages. The people of our district would recall that in 2015 State of the District Address, we gave a report of a 325 million Flagstaff water supply project, which is intended to serve 30,407 households in the rural villages of Flagstaff and the Flagstaff town. A further commitment was made that a project worth 83 million for village reticulation, which has to ensure households do receive sustainable water services, was going on tender. We are therefore happy to announce that the Flagstaff Regional Phase 3 project is now at 98% completion, with the subcontractor busy finalizing the reservoirs. Thank you very much. And the project is also linked to Flagstaff Regional Water Source, which is awaiting just Eskom connection. From the sessions held between OR Tambo and Eskom, Eskom committed to make connections in October 2017. We procured 8 generators, which will be delivered in September 2017 and be commissioned immediately whilst waiting for Eskom to connect. The KSD Presidential Intervention Bulk Water Infrastructure is one of the strategic projects that addresses the requirement to supply potable water to the existing and planned reticulation schemes in the local municipalities that will cover 100% of KSD, 40% of Msondlo, and 60% of Nyambane. KSD Presidential Intervention Bulk Water Master Plan enables an integrated approach to supply 5 corridors, which I think we all know by now because we started mentioning these multi-year projects and corridors to Nkanduli, Madu, Libote, Zweleni, and Mthatha corridors, with potable water from Mthatha Dam. The water demand also is increased. The increase also included the extension of bulk sanitation pipelines upgrades to cover the sewer in Mthatha town and surrounding suburbs due to population growth and development that is dilapidated infrastructure. To date, these corridors are at various stages with enormous achievements made. Ndicela ke abantu baseWaThambo bayiqaphelisise le progress. Baze bakwazi xa befika ekhaya bakhomperishe ukuba sasitheni ngo-2016, sasitheni ngo-2015 sombona. Kuba ndive into ethi ukhona ifeeling ongathi sitsho into enye okokoko. Masinothise the various stages that we're reporting when we come to these gatherings. Because as we said, the bulk water infrastructure development does not happen over 1 year. It is a multi-year program. Nkanduli corridor is currently at 88% completion, with the expected date for the first delivery of water to the last reservoir being July 2019. This is to the fact that there are still contracts that are to go to tender, including 3 pump stations and extension of secondary bulk. The pipeline laying from Mthatha Waterworks to Nkanduli area is 99% complete, and also the construction of reservoirs is currently sitting at 95% completion. The major works remaining under Nkanduli corridor, which will be done in 2017-18, will be the construction of secondary bulk pipeline to the villages. Honorable Speaker, by secondary bulk, we mean the actual building of the infrastructure that reticulates water to the tap from the reservoirs. Installation of booster pump stations between Thornhill and Nkanduli, which will lead to obtain the primary objective of bringing the water to tap by July 2019. As the institution, we are working on a plan to bring water to tap before the end of this financial year, July 2017-18. We are happy to report that the Libote-Ngeleni corridor phase 1 has been completed, as was reported as the projected under construction in 2016 SOTA. This project aims at ensuring that limited capacity of water supply is provided to town of Libote, and the project also strategically ensures that towns of Libote and Ngeleni are developed, and this will remove the burden of the movement of people to Mthatha. The Libote-Ngeleni corridor phase 2 project is under construction, sitting at 40% of work completed to date, and the planned completion date is November 2018. The delays are due to litigations. The phase 1 of the project will be able to supply water to Libote town and other area close to constructed pipelines before end of 2017-18. Mthatha Central Bulk served to stimulate the economic growth in the central Mthatha area by improving the level of services provided and upgrade the existing bulk water supply to cater for breaking new ground areas in Mthatha town and to cater for formalizing of services to the main informal settlement areas surrounding Mthatha. This program is currently at 95% completion, and it will ensure the relief and improvement in the town of Mthatha. The work completed includes the upgrade of raw water pipeline and raw pump station, the upgrade of Thornhill water treatment works from 60 megalitre to 80 megalitres, the construction of Signal Hill to Zamulungisa pumping main, the Zimbabwe to Sidwado gravity main, and 3 bulk reservoirs. Mr. Speaker, our work continues in the replacement of the dilapidated infrastructure built from the last term. Over this term of office, will change all dilapidated pipes that leads to pipe bursts and water losses. Ladies and gentlemen, the KSDPI project is progressing very well, with the following as the summary of highlights per corridor. The Thornhill raw water pipeline, laying 4.2 kilometer steel pipeline, has been completed and is now operational. The tie-in of the 2 new pumps at Mthatha Dam Pump Station is 100% complete, and the 3rd pump will be installed once Department of Water and Sanitation has completed the repairs of Mthatha Dam outlet valves. And the Thornhill treatment works is 99%, and it will be completed before the end of June 2017. Thank you. In the Thornhill water treatment works, civil works is sitting at 100% complete. The mechanical and electrical contractor is progressing well with installation of mechanical and electrical components, and the entire upgrade is planned to be completed by July 2017. At least on and Bali for 2019 repair. The corner is Balang Road. And our communities will be there watching us. Ladies and gentlemen, we broke the new ground in Mthatha South Corridor to mention a few. In areas like Zimbabwe, Vulindlela, Zamulungisa, Sidwado, South Ridge, and Southern Wood, pipe laying have been completed, and bulk pipeline from Thornhill water treatment works to Signal Hill Reservoir and Zamulungisa Reservoir is 100% complete. The contractor is finalizing Zamulungisa Reservoir and the tie-in of the inlet and outlet pipes, and we plan to complete the entire corridor in July 2017. At the airport corridor, the pipeline laying is sitting at 86%. At Fairfield Reservoir, it is 100% complete, and we are determined to complete the entire corridor before December 2017. We have registered progress too in Mkanduli corridor. In this corridor, the pipe laying is sitting at 90% completion, and construction of reservoirs is sitting at 95%. The contractors are busy with river crossing and tie-ins connections. The entire corridor is planned to be completed in September 2017. Indeed, the year of Kwatambo, it is the year of heightened service delivery, and many multi-year projects will be finished by this year. The pipe replacement in Mthatha, Nelson Mandela Drive, Fort Gale, Ikwezi has been completed on date 2. The project will now focus on Ngambedlana pipeline, which is still asbestos, to PVC pipe. As we committed in 2016, we have finished the Water Services Master Plan and have been submitted to the Department of Water and Sanitation for approval. The Eastern Cape Technical Appraisal Committee has since approved the plan, and for the plan to be final, the Department of Water and Sanitation must just sign the plan. Honorable members, ladies and gentlemen, we have also been providing our people with water tanks, with protected springs and water conservation. Where plans were still formulated to bring water to certain sections, we have provided our people with water tanks. As part of keeping community taps wet, We have also refurbished water schemes that have been going dry in our district. Since the start of the pipe replacement in 2015, we have replaced 3,000 new water bulk and household meters to keep our taps wet from our schemes. For the upcoming financial year, we spend 12 million to refurbish our water schemes. To continue with our program of new meter installation, we put aside 35 million for meter installation. With this program, we will legalize those households that are connected in our lines illegally. In particular, police, we will legalize those households that are connected to our water lines illegally. Most of the households that are doing in-yard connection do afford paying rents. In instances where we are still putting infrastructure or plans to bring water to the area, we have a program of stream protection. 6.5 million is set aside for stream protection for 2017-18. Underwater stream, the bulk pipeline and reservoir are close to completion, and the major challenge at this stage is funding of the secondary bulk. The upgrade of Rosedale plant, the Thorning Clear Water Pump Station, and the funding application for unfunded projects have been submitted to National Treasury, and we hope to get approval before the end of the current financial year. Sanitation is dignity, Honorable Speaker. During our IDP roadshows, the people of Kwatam, in particular from Ezilalini, Nakwezizlawo, the informal settlement, they complained a lot about e-toilet as overflowing. We have listened to our people, and we have made sure that we make an intervention by putting aside 10 million, which will be used to suck the sludge from the VIP ablution facilities. The upgrade of Mthatha wastewater treatment works from 12 megalitres to 32 megalitres is 100% complete and currently operational, and both Mqanduli and Msikisiki towns are at the completion stages. So siyayihoya lento yedolophi zethu ezichitha ilindle kuba besingenayo i-sewer system elingana nedemand. The upgrade of the southern sewers is 92% complete, and the contractor is finalizing the upgrade of Ngangelizwe outfall sewers and refurbishment of 5 north outfall sewer pump stations, which are under additional scope of work, and the planned completion for this is set for June 2017. The upgrade of northern outfall sewer has also progressed very well and sitting at 98% completion. The project is delayed and it will be complete once the land issues have been resolved. The municipality has commenced already with the land expropriation route. We have allocated 15 million for Lusikisiki sewer to kickstart sewer reticulation pipeline in the year 2017-18. I would like to call for partnership from the people of Flagstaff, regardless of the challenges surrounding the project. The vandalism that the project has since experienced is unacceptable. The vandalism of Flagstaff Sewer Phase 1 is bringing back the progress made so far on the Flagstaff Sewer project. Geysers and copper pipes were stolen. Our communities need to know that vandalism backtracks progress. Phase 3 will go to tender once Phase 2 has passed 50% completion to minimize unregularized connections. Tsolo Sewer. It is now under construction with 2 contractors appointed to try and speed up the process. And the project is sitting at 45% completion in terms of construction. Many projects Honorable Speaker, land claims. But as for understanding that we cannot hold back the service delivery because this is a theater ngomhlaba. Singathetha ngomhlaba sibe semkhuba ukuthi basolve improvement. In the 2016 State of the District Address, we reported on the progress made in the upgrade of Southern Outfall Sewer. The project is almost complete and the wastewater treatment works is being commissioned and the plant is performing well so far with better effluent quality. Over 79% of the district households are served with dry sanitation, and this is enormous improvement as the region is rural. A result that by the end of the term of this council in 2021 must have addressed all dry sanitation backlogs. This will certainly be achieved. We have allocated the requisite funding during the budget process, and all the required infrastructure will therefore be installed. And the budget is available for the people of OR to look at the detail of how much is budgeted for what. Honorable Speaker, though roads are not our competence, we have been identifying areas of urgent intervention to precipitate for economic activity. Siyafuna nathi kuba inxalenye yokuba kuqhubeke ukuziswa koqoqosho. We cannot afford ukumamela abantu abangano-business besithi imeko ye-social infrastructure iyasigqotha e-OR Tambo. Hence, from time to time, we intervene at least to make sure that businesses of people are accessible. We have intervened in the Vulindlela Heights with funding and Emali roads. This intervention has saved the face of the Vulindlela Industrial Park. For the upcoming financial year, we have set aside 14 million for the support to strategic roads. The Council of OR Tambo adopted the 2017-18 budget that provides for 645 million for the implementation of new and ongoing water and sanitation projects. 645 million. Thank you very much. 327 million for water and sanitation park infrastructure. 124 million for groundwater and reticulation interventions, and 71 million is set aside for the renewal and maintenance of water services infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, one of key infrastructure service delivery programs aimed at restoring dignity to our people is providing decent shelter and creating housing opportunities. Since the year 2000, our government has been hard at work to secure title deeds for our people, assisting residents who were previously denied rights to own property. The Department of Human Settlement in 2016-17 year in our district spent a budget of at least 376 million and completed 2,592 houses, as well as 2,851 partial services. 2,592 houses have been delivered in one financial year in OR Tambo, and 2,851 are partially completed. 286 houses on rectification program and 986 houses for destitute families. The following projects were implemented: Langing 800 units, KSD Destitute 594, New Brighton 125, Solo 500 completed 210 houses whose beneficiaries were living in informal settlements. Umbu completed 500 completed 134 houses whose beneficiaries were also living in the informal settlements. For military veterans, 57, the project is aimed at providing decent houses to military veterans, which commenced during 2016-17 financial year. Responding to April 2013 disaster, at least 2,016 beneficiaries approved with 322 houses already completed and handed over, located at Mhlongo Municipality, to destitute families. Presidential Intervention Project A, as part of the KSDPI, KSD 1317 Project A at Maiden Farm Extension was approved and internal services construction is complete. Houses construction is in progress and 98 houses have been completed during 2016-17 financial year. The Watambo Municipality Council adopted a policy on social relief, which is intended to assist the vulnerable and destitute cases, such as addressing critical homeless cases in communities. Through this program, at least 6 houses were built and handed over to the disabled, old and vulnerable families in 2016-17 financial year. In implementing these projects, the institution partnered with the National Home Builders Regulation Council for purposes of skills transfer to the youth, and as such, 50 young people obtained clustering trade after Ward 21 AKSD. Honorable Speaker, the President has said this term of the administration is the term for radical economic transformation. Allow me to talk on rural economic development, planning and tourism. In 2016-17 financial year, 1.7 million was spent improving or providing support to 13 cooperatives, 10 youth and 3 women. The support included training them on essentials of business and operation management to improve chances of success. The funding for cooperatives this financial year has increased. We've set aside 14 million. Nama mama sibancedise kwi-co-ops zabo ngebeqhwabe kakhulu apha endendeni. Ndiye ndacela ke Somlomo bafuneka sibe biased next time xa sibiza imbizo yokunika ujiko, sibabize aba bantu who benefited from our program so that bazoba ngamangqina nangamayeye nangokuqhwaba izandla. Le 14 million kungenzeka ibizofika nakweyakho cooperative neyakho business njengoba ungayiqhwabeli. At least 10 young prospective entrepreneurs from KSD were supported to participate in the world-class furniture manufacturing incubation through the partnership we have with Fentel. Kaniyena bezifemini bantu abakude niyozibonela iFentel umsebenzi wenziwa ngabantwana benu. Ifurniture ephaya wafunga usithi ayisuka kwezi venkile zinkulu kuthiwa we-Western Side. The program will also draw participants from other local municipalities and will create employment opportunities for the region once these entrepreneurs have graduated from the incubation program. We've got the Sobe cooperative that is led by a young lady, by the name of Ms. Nabagazi Sobai, which was supported with 130,000 to acquire raw material, packaging and equipment for their manufacturing of home soap and detergent manufacturing cooperative, which was at the verge of closing. Thank you very much, young lady. This has improved her from being street vendor to a shop owner. Wonke umuntu endibana naye elila ndimthumela kweza departments phaya eWaThamo. Ndadibana naye ndivizithe phaya eRaki, ndabona kule nto yokuthandaza uThixo wathi make ndiye eRaki ndibele ivizitha. Xa ndiphuma ndizongena emotweni ndixakwe ngulo mntwana wakum esifubeni ngeenyembezi echaza ingxaki yakhe be-experiencer of being sent from post to pillar. Tata Madubela, I hope you are here. And their commitment by working together with the district will turn the situation economically around for the people of Watambo and supporting the small businesses and small entrepreneurs. Malisele kwamhlabe nimenywe ngumanager waseStandard Bank. Yakhathazeka inhliziyo yami xa ndisiva uba asina capacity kangangaba locally kwa-ECDC imali ezininzi efanele bazinceda abantu balapha eWaThambo abakwi-business ziphinda ku-national fiscals because we can't afford to fill the complicated forms and the staff members themselves of ECDC have challenges. To capacitate the internal staff of ECDC to be able to support abantu baseWaThambo. That thing is history. Also, my business or by ECDC, so approve the business plans and master support. Thank you very much, Mr. Matubela, for that commitment. In Ghana application, 7 days, he made sure that it is signed. It will head office, and within 14 days, my new you pay the money we are Mr. Matubela. Mr. Matubela. How's Lana? Through the Anglo-Gold Ashanti Partnership, a total of 6 million has been invested for Amampondas and Malangan maize and vegetable production project with 550 hectares plowed under maize. The house was going to pursue our objectives on radical economic transformation, we have budgeted 15.5 million for agriculture. And one must borrow for agriculture. Silvestre, our national treasury, Sasuwina is struggle, so we cannot talk Watambo and don't talk agriculture. Hence the budget that we are pronouncing today. This, we believe, will do all the necessary preparations for an agri-pact that will jack up our economy with regards to agriculture and the value chain. Limited infrastructure facilities is one of the main obstacles for industrial development in our district. Hence, the Regional Industrial Development Program is one of the main projects allocated 5 million to promote regional industrialization. KSD isincedise sine-investors ebudala zingiyonke ezifuna ukuzapha eWaThambo zizopartnerisha noonoteksi okanye oosomatekisi ukwenza i-panel beating workshop neshop yokuqala yokuthengisa izipares just zee-taxis, and they want to partner with our own taxi industry. Sicele umhlaba ke phaya KSD sesibeke ne-5 million ecaleni uba xa befika as investors sikhawuleze ukuyisapota le program and it gets off the ground. Our resolve and commitment to engage with the Argentinian government is now taking off the ground. Following the visit by the Argentina ambassador to South Africa and investors in agriculture and the value chain, we are now required to put together plans and start preparing to make sure that this investment comes to Watambo. Nalapho sibeke 9.5 million. Ukuqiniseka uba siyayiqala le nto yokulima amasimi sisebenza norhulumente wase-Argentina. Ndiyavuya uba somlomo bendimane ndiyinto yokuhlekisa yaziwa ngoba ithanda ulimo. Olimo kodwa ndimthanda without anything to do. We appreciate that the council has supported us to say let's budget. The money that we've set aside just for agriculture is more than 30 million. The Watambo municipality will remain steadfast in its commitment to aid and grow cooperative sector of the economy. As such, 12 million is set aside for cooperative support in order to bring the marginalized sections of our people to mainstream the economic activities. This 12 million may be small, but support and cooperatives. The business plans, azokwazi ukufika e-ECDC bafumane le mali to support their cooperatives. On waste management, Honorable Speaker, The regional recycling facility in Mhlonhlo, located in Qumbu, is now operational, with a direct employment of 30 people, with the 8 cooperatives feeding the recycling facility with material. Not less than 70 to 80 people are working in the cooperatives. Of the 8 recycling cooperatives, at least 3 are from Mhlonhlo, 3 are from KSD, 1 from Nyandeni, and 1 from Concentrates. AngloGold Ashanti sponsored the DC municipality with 2 waste minimization trucks that are now utilized to assist the cooperatives to transport their recycled material to the regional recycling facility in Qumbu. The DM is implementing the regional recycling program that is aiming at creating more than 500 job opportunities, as well as reducing waste pollution and contribute to combating climate change. And the program is looking at supporting the recycling cooperatives and individuals, as well as to create a conducive environment for recycling in the region. On tourism development, the DC municipality has championed the program to strengthen functionality of the Mthatha, Nkandule, and Ngoza Hill Visitor Information Center offices through placing 13 unemployed youth tourism graduates in the EPWP program, and at least 12 women from all LM were supported to attend the National Arts Festival in 2016 Grahamstown Arts Festival, and the promotional material was designed for them, provided with craft products, display equipment, and craft products transportation to annual festival. St. John's Shell Cooperative with 8 beneficiaries was supported with a 10 days picture, box framing, and product innovating training. A government that cares, community services, Mamumtlet. This caring government of the African National Congress has come up with mandatory insurance that supports the system of universal access to healthcare coverage. The NHI is for rich, poor, employed, unemployed, young or old, sick, very healthy, black or white. This innovation is addressing imbalances on access of healthcare services in the country. The core strategy behind this system is in ensuring an efficient, effective, quality-driven health services delivery through primary healthcare approach. The identification of our Tambo district as a pilot program to the NHI has benefited our people. We now have the ideal clinics with infrastructure, with work that is unfolding to spread the NHI across the district. Our people must only expect the best. Mr. Speaker, we have been faced with the challenge of lack of ownership when it comes to the early childhood development centers. We held an early childhood development summit, to mention a few, to make sure that we strengthen the voice of all critical role players in the advancement of early childhood development in Watambo through equal engagement and dialogue process. Masingulele bakhona ipartner ye-Standard Bank. Because emva summit baze ngaphambili bathi nansi 100,000 khetha i-preschool ofuna siyoyidevelopa ibe yi-ideal preschool, and we'll do that. Thank you very much, Mr. Walker. On disaster management, Honorable Speaker, as an institution, we have made strides in building capacity to deal with disasters in our jurisdiction. As it is known that the district is prone to various hazards which affect individual families, the environment, and basic infrastructure and properties. A disaster risk management center has been established and is located at our mayor's offices until it receives a permanent home. It has tools and equipment to perform the function and to get closer to the communities through satellite offices that have also been established in each local municipality. The district is focusing on improving disaster risk management facilities by providing suitable temporal structures to enhance proper functioning of these offices. A service provider has been already appointed, and the first structure will be erected in Mhlonhlo before the end of July. Mayor was Thank you, the district developed and adopted its disaster management policy framework to facilitate implementation of the Disaster Management Act and the National Disaster Management Framework within its area. The framework guides the municipal departments and entities, local municipalities, private sector, and communities in general. The Disaster Risk Management Center has registered 1,200 disaster volunteers, of which 40 are engaged in doing public awareness campaigns to communities and are paid stipends through the municipal equitable share budget. The remainder is awaiting to be activated whenever necessary. We have purchased and installed a state-of-the-art disaster information management and communication system to effectively record reported incidents and coordinate response by other agencies. The communication component of the system is being upgraded to comply with the current needs of the district. A foundation towards having a district early warning system has been established with the assistance of South African Weather Services, and the current focus is on severe weather incidents and monitoring to advise communities at risk. A system has been established to monitor the area around Mthatha CBD and plans to expand the system to cover Tsolo and Qumbu CBD. The system will cover all towns at high-risk areas like communities prone to severe storms and strong winds, and the SMS system and other ways will be used to notify our communities at risk and of an impending danger. The district has established a two-way radio communication network to enhance communication. Currently, disaster management, fire and rescue services, and local municipal traffic police are using the system. As such, communities are encouraged to make use of this facility. We have set aside 2.8 million to make available suitable facilities for operations of all satellite offices. This means our main disaster center and its satellite offices now will operate 24 hours and will be ready to provide assistance when needed. Siyayivala ingozi bantu baseWaterham. Funeka sizazi ezipho xa kune-disasters ukuba kufanele senze njani na. Will be available 24 hours. During January 2017, we were severely affected by a series of severe weather events. The DM Council, after assessing the extent of the damage in collaboration with the provincial and national disaster management centers, resolved to declare a state of disaster. To date, 1,379 households were left homeless. 297 have been provided with temporary shelters, and the balance is to be assisted once the provincial allocation has been finalized. All the affected communities have been assisted with the relief, and I would like to commend support from private sector and NGOs who came to partner with us during the time of need. I'll mention but a few: Mthatha Chamber of Business, Checkers, Al-Mdad Foundation, ESCOM, Red Cross Society, Boxer, and individuals who volunteered themselves to assist the fellow community members of our district. We have set aside over 1.9 million. Thank you very much. They deserve a round of applause. Ukubonakalisa somlomo lento yokukhwaba andihaleleni thina xa siyi-councillors seWaterham. Nabantu ngokunokwabo ne-private sector xa benze kakuhle naka ndiyibulele into basibaqhwabele. Bake bagxothwa ngabanye kakubi ewadede njengoba bezise isuphu nesonto. Bayeshwa. Siyacela izinto zingenzeki. Bangexesha abanye bayeshayo kufike uncedo is because ikhona into umuntu athatha kuyo. Bakhona ngelo xesha balangazela kweso songa nesuphu. Ibe ingayonto karhulumente, ingumntu nje othi kuba siyandisapota njengolobhizinesi. I feel I must put a hand. Let's support those initiatives. As it is known, in most cases, houses are always affected. The district with its local municipalities and sector departments has facilitated provision of temporary shelters for indigent and homeless families. That exercise is still in progress. I would like to extend a word of gratitude, Ma'am Ngwat, to the provincial government for putting aside a sum of 70 million as emergency grant funding, which will assist affected households with shelters. Provincial Treasury transferred this amount to COPTA, and necessary administration processes are being followed for the disbursement of these funds. Prioritizing designated groups and combating HIV and AIDS infection projects. Honorable Speaker, this should send shocking weight to all of us. The current statistics depict a regression in our historical improvement on reduction of HIV/AIDS in the district. Of the 299 new HIV infections recorded weekly in the Eastern Cape province for young women 15 to 24 years old, 71, which is 24%, is from OR Tambo District Municipality. Kubonakalise ukuba aba bantu bahlekisa ngeCiyo mabayeke laa nto. Aba bantwana bakwiCiyo program ayasinda kwezi zinto, because it is said it is affecting women from 15 to 24 years old, i-HIV, and OR Tambo iphala phambili. Sinereason ke yoba siyisapote le nto. Siyabulela kumakhosi wethu, siyabulela kwiikumkani zethu ngokusisapota zisinike ikhaya uba masiyiqhube le program yokusindisa isizwe nekamva loMzantsi Afrika. Mr. Speaker, as a matter of urgency, the District AIDS Council should gear up to undertake its crucial responsibility of being an advisory structure to the executive on all matters related to HIV, STIs and TB, particularly as it continues to advocate for the effective involvement of sectors and organizations to implement these HIV programs and strategies. Moreover, it is also important that the DAC must prioritize the support and oversight of local AIDS councils through monitoring progress on the implementation of all planned programs as aligned to the provincial implementation plan on HIV. Ladies and gentlemen, honorable members, we have institutionalized the CIO program as means to fascinate our children to the traditional practices that preserve the young generation, encouraging abstaining, thereby reducing their chances of being infected with HIV and AIDS. As I said earlier on, the district municipality has budgeted 1.8 million on women and youth. OR Tambo Young Women Socio-Economic Empowerment Development, we call OR Tambo Young Women SEED, is a structure established to serve as a platform and a vehicle to ensure social economic upliftment of young women of OR Tambo District. It will be strengthened, focusing on the institutional or structural establishment issues at NM level and ward level, as well as implementation of concrete programs. The latter includes supporting young women under this program to form cooperatives focusing but not limited to manufacturing and agriculture, etc. Through this program, 42 women received accredited training on dressmaking and were also provided with industrial sewing machines and startup equipment and material. Some of these women are now independent entrepreneurs who are able to secure contracts with various schools in their villages for manufacturing school uniforms. For the new financial year, the program will also focus on the rollout of the free-range egg and poultry production, including the establishment of various partnerships with relevant institutions to facilitate access to markets. Through the Ambassador program, plans are in place to facilitate partnership with various institutions with engineering capacity involved in capacity building on various aspects of manufacturing, including chemical manufacturing, which includes household cleaning materials, cosmetics, paint, etc., as well as manufacturing of washable sanitary towels and washable pampers, and also assist the women and youth to register for SABS compliances to enhance access to markets for their products. The district municipality budgeted 2 million for women and 1.2 million for youth in 2017-18. On young women development pageant, passionately known as Miss OR Tambo, the first Miss OR Tambo was held in 2007 with partnership of Vodacom, later joined by Daily Dispatch and Mtobon FM, and has been implemented annually since inception. And as such, 2017 event was celebrating a decade. The 2017 crown was also celebrated as part of the centenary celebrations for life and legacy of Mr. Oliver Reginald Tambo. The partnership we have with Vodacom, thank you. The partnership we have with Vodacom as this district municipality is growing from strength to strength, now touching on our service delivery core business, including the recently launched Teta Nati program. The former Miss Tambo Pigeon winners are Babala from Inguza, Babala Majova, Avile Speed of 2008, Babala Sobigela 2009, Lele Tumfeya. They come from all the municipalities. Kakamba Mpotulo in 2011, Sinovunda Bankulu in 2012, Sinalo Daniso 2014, Samantha Shamain, Battle Scene in 2015, and Onalo Zungu in 2017. Yes. Nakukona Apho Miss Tambo 2017. She's from Mton, and now she's driving a utility buggy given to her through this program. A brand new, not a second hand, a brand new. The 2016 contestants were pronounced to be eligible for financial academic assistance, and as such, at least 7 of them out of the 15 qualified and were awarded. Of the 7 qualified, 6 passed to the next level in 2017, and 1 received an academic exclusion for having failed the major subject. Nakulonyaka lesipindi lesathi abo bebengenele uMiss Tambo baqualifyayo ngokusuka kumakhaya angathathi ntweni, they automatically qualify to be assisted on bursary. Talking about education, the Star Schools implemented in partnership with Emlo Goldashani and is aimed at improving grade 12 results. 21 schools from all local municipalities is focused on mathematics, physical science, and English. Ubasotwa hayi owaTambo awungeni ndawo ku-education. Sithi umongameli uthe education is a societal matter. Uncane kuvume ade umphathiswa wezemfundo asifaka nakwi-policy speech encome owaTambo uba is one of the best municipalities in supporting education programs. Namntana ube number 1 kwizwe lonke grade 12 matric results zika-2016 wase-Holy Cross uphuma kule program ye-Star Schools. Ukhona mntana amaphenduli. Kwenzeka ukuba use-university. Uphi umntwana? Usaphumile, abantwana bahlali kakhulu kakhulu kuthethwa ngento. Ulapha besimele no-principal wakhe. At least 4 learners from participating schools managed to achieve 100% in mathematics. Because we've adopted the St. John's College to be our center of excellence. So aba bantwana i-Star Schools iqhubapa xa siba award and best achievements. Ndivuma umntana ukuthi ufumene 100% kwi-maths ngoba incamile lento. On physical science, they received 100% in maths and science, and received 94% in English. Honorable Speaker, in our midst today we have Mr. Kogazi Shalugana, as the one I was talking about, Tusa Pumile from Holy Cross High School, who made us very proud as Waterloo District. And he should receive the national recognition as top achiever with 100% in all subjects of her 2016. 100% in all her subjects. Congratulations, my girl. It is a study bursary. We've got a study bursary that we call on financial academic assistance. It is a study bursary formally established in 2006 by Council Resolution to assist extremely impoverished families with children displaying good academic potential who are assisted to further their studies in South Africa, accredited tertiary and institutions. The total number of students who, according to available records, have benefited from the program since its inception to date is 171. For the 2017 academic year, Council adjusted the budget to 4.5 million, and for 2017-18 budget, Council has allocated 6.4 million to provide for all 89 students for this current year. Abantu basewisile bandiphatha kakubi ngumwisile. Ngathi ndiye enkonzweni yomnqophiso lenza i-announcement ukuba sifuna abantwana abasuka kumakhaya ahluphekayo abafuna uncediswa ngumasipala bafake i-applications kuyavalwa ngedate ethile. Andikoke kuWhatsApp kuthiwa ke babegcwele phaa kuWhatsApp bethi uyexoka ayikho into enjalo, to an extent of even abanye insinuating ukuba le mali inamehlo. This time around, even though the bursary committee is chaired by the executive mayor, I normally delegate, but I made it a point this financial year that I chaired that meeting, and the scrutiny we were applying in ensuring that accommodation is not apa engadizeki. We're even calling parents, grandmothers to ask about that is how credible the process is. And Glonyaka is now 89 as we support the university about Ubushala everything is paid for. This distribution of current beneficiaries per LM is as follows: 37 are from KSD, 13 are the continuing, and 24 are the new. 10 are from Sonto, 4 continuing, 6 new. 22 are from Nyandeli, 12 continuing, 10 new. 9 are from Port St. John's, 5 continuing, 4 new. 10 are from Inmuzahili, 8 continuing, and 3 new. Unfortunately, Sondomo, asikalanga ngabantu mama abasebenzayo noba uyasebenza kodwa awafodi the missing middle. Singale baba bathi umama uthengisa ifruit esitratweni, umama uphila ngegrant. Abo bantwana esibasa ezi-universities. The institution will now perform both functions of skills development, which is internal and external skills development. We are saying for the upcoming financial year, which is 2017-18, the institution has set aside 12 million for the establishment of HRD and addressing HRD Council and addressing development. So for the HRD Council, is not only abasebenzi namakhansila, sinike nabahlali baseWaThamba izigills. The MOUs we have with the institutions of higher learning will be explored in the coming financial year, with the proximity of WUSU will save the traveling as opposed to going to institutions further than it. Mr. Speaker, as part of municipal support, we've started job evaluation in the local municipalities. Placement of all employees in the new program have been finished. Casual employees who were in the institution as of January 2010 were all placed in vacancies. 2 advertisements have been issued thus far. A total of 211 posts have been advertised internally, while a total of 64 posts have been advertised externally. 3 directors are being recruited. The Director of Water and Sanitation Services, I believe, Kalili Zolo, Human Settlement and Technical Services. And we recently adopted circumcision bill. Less circumcision bill is under Wokupasiso. But we are saying we'll roll out the initiation program throughout the districts, and we aim bringing to an end death during circumcision. Role to play in the initiation. Indeed, the death will halt our mama being malaria. Asizuya emaphondeni. Kodwa soba inxalenye kule ndawo ifuna thina sicebisa ootata kakuhle siqiniseke abantwana bethu bayawafumana amanzi abantwana xa becela ukuya entabeni bacele umama utata and so on and so on. In strengthening the oversight of Mr. Speaker, over the term, the institution has been working hard to ensure that it executes its work in a conservative democratic manner. We took a council resolution to separate the powers, and this decision came after we were identified by the province to be a pilot on separation of powers. To enhance accountability and improve service delivery, Council adopted a municipal oversight model to strengthen the oversight role played by Section 79 portfolio committees and in planning and reporting systems, whereby Section 79 portfolio committees invite MMCs to account on reported service delivery performance and budget expenditure versus approved IDP and SDPIP. So masipala ukuphela kwakhe kweliphondo oqinisa ukwenza lento okuthiwa kukugada umsebenzi wenziwa yi-executive administration. Umuntu ongusihlalo wekomiti ube ngumuntu ongekho ku-mayoral committee. Kuphela kwayo apha e-Eastern Cape enotata ophatha intonga. Utata ophatha intonga njengale imiphethwe xa singena ngathi kusepalamente, because we are the only municipal that is implementing the separation of powers. On the 27th March 2017, the municipality received a concurrence from MEC Corporate Governance and Traditional Affairs Eastern Cape Province stating that it approved the municipality to implement SOP as a tool to strengthen oversight and accountability, the provincial copter to monitor the implementation and attend committee meetings as observers, thereafter sit with management and input to areas that need closing gaps. To roll out the idea of strengthening oversight and accountability through the separation of powers model to other municipalities. Ifundo apha izosiwa ke ngoku nawabanye umasipala apha eMpuma Koloni. Amidst a number of challenges, tremendous strides have been made to implement continuously and learn as we implement the oversight model. Honorable Speaker, you coordinated the training of ward committees in all municipalities, and these were capacitated on leadership skills, communication skills, conflict management, and the officers also organized a bursary for 73 students, traffic officers from PSJ, Mhlonto, and Umuza local municipality to SASITA in the year 2015-16. Ngiyaqoqela lento sokuba traffic officers zethu nazo zingenapha eWatertown, so that xa kusenziwa lo msebenzi umhle pha wo-local bethu ne-district ibe nawo awamapolisa. Strengthening connection with the people through the Tetanati program, we considered communication to be a strategic element of service delivery. In a rapidly changing environment, Owatambo district strives to achieve integration, coordination, and high levels of interface with our inhabitants. Laying successes in government service delivery and proactively outlining bottlenecks, the institution considered communicators as indispensable link between Owatambo district inhabitants and the institution itself. This relationship is important for a thriving democracy and to ensure that government communicates with the public on matters pertaining to the improvement of their lives. We are pursuing a communication agenda which is anchored on transparency and accountability. With Communication Solution we launched, our communication with inhabitants of Owatambo will move beyond just being crisis management, which unfortunately seems to be what dominates the communication agenda of government at times. Our communication at this district entails public consultation, achieving consensus, raising awareness, changing behavior, fostering transparency and civic education, as well as listening or feeding the pulse of our society. This solution will boost us to another level. A key indicator of effective communication is enhanced citizen participation. Therefore, our communication is now not just about developing that spokespersons with sharp sound bites. Rather, now it will also involve the development of citizens-oriented services and building capacities of the citizens to make sure we give feedback on their experiences as the district. On telecommunications, we are saying that telecommunications technology impacts almost every aspect of our lives. It affects the way we do business, the way we manage our time, the way we keep in touch with each other, and the way we build our collective human experiences. The rate of development of telecommunication products and services has increased dramatically over the last decade and shows no sign of slowing down. It is in fact one of the fastest growing business sectors globally, and as communication grows, so does culture and commerce. The communication solution we have come with will help grow ability to communicate by providing greater access of information, enhancing the fundamental human need to communicate. Ladies and gentlemen, as the district municipality of Amman, we are among districts pronounced by the President in 2015 to benefit from the broadband rollout. Though the program is for now started in KZN in Mhlonto, we are focusing on areas that require special attention in achieving digital economy, among others, such as improvement and enhancement of communications network, heightening the cyber security and ensuring the network reliability and robustness, improving connectivity in all aspects of physical and institutional people-centered and online connectivity. We have come a long way over the last decade in this fast-changing dynamic ICT industry with high customer expectation. There is always a great demand for information to be handled faster and better. In 2016-17 financial year, we saw the realization of the President's pronouncement in his 2015 SONA that our Tambo district will be among the priority districts, municipalities to be connected to the broadband set out in the SONA of the President then. We identified as 8 NHI sites, which includes Tambo. The district partnered with the Universal Services and Access Agencies, USASA, for the construction of extension of broadband infrastructure in the KSD and in Mhlonto. The broadband rollout will ensure connectivity to a total of 609 Wi-Fi hotspots by end of July 2017. USASA, through Brightwave Technologies, a company tasked with the broadband infrastructure rollout, has currently deployed infrastructure and connected 106 sites in the KSD, 104 sites in Mhlonto, totaling 210 sites. With a total of 182 educational institutions and 28 healthcare institutions. In 2017-18 financial year, and in line with the year of Tambo, USASA will roll out broadband to the rest of the municipalities in the district so as to ensure universal access throughout our district. Allow me, Honourable Speaker, talk on DTP. The district municipality and her organized sectoral formations have traversed quite an engaging and evidence-based journey of generating ideas about the future of this district beyond the 5-year term. The roadmap of the development of the District Development Plan 2013 that I announced results on us making sure that there is foundational research which gained momentum with clear propositions, and the same evidence for the DTP has since informed our 5-year IDP 2017-2022 problem statement and vision. At the platform of Mega Straight Plan, the Tambo DM and her stakeholders agreed to a future district whose vision is a prosperous, vibrant, innovative, and people-centered district. The footprint of the DTP Vision 2030 is in all our local municipalities, coordinated, integrated, and given investment partnership impetus through the district municipality. We'll be giving value add to the primary products coming from farmers across valleys and villages of Imuza, Cotton, Johnson, Mhlonto, and KSD will diversify these products for markets. In this regard, we have an agri-park and farmer support units. This is the future we are building. It does not start in 2013, it is this 2017-2022 5-year IDP that has started this journey. Honourable Speaker, in combating fraud and corruption, The underlying premise of municipal-wide risk management is that every municipality exists to provide service delivery to the communities within its area of jurisdiction. All municipalities face uncertainty, and the challenge of management is to determine how much uncertainty to accept as it starts to provide services to the people. It is against this understanding that the institution has since January 2017 established a risk management unit entrusted with risk management and anti-fraud and anti-corruption. OR Tambo municipality subscribes to the principles of good corporate governance, which requires conducting of business in an honest and transparent fashion. Consequently, OR Tambo DM is committed to fighting fraudulent behavior at all levels within the institution. I've got in the speech report that I've made on incidents that were reported and dealt with in terms of corruption. Again, on performance, we are trying to make sure that we institutionalize the performance that will ensure that we are accountable both as employees and the politicians of this district. In the same vein, I'm saying the philosopher Karl Marx also observed there is no real road to success. Only those who do not dread the fatiguing climbs of its steep paths stand a chance of reaching its luminous summits. Close quote. It is these insights and sagacity that help impel our inexorable progress through the vicissitudes of time towards the better future of all our citizens. We have evidently taken massive and decisive strides in that direction. There should be no doubt or argument about that. The ever-changing spatial outlook of our district is living testament of extent to which our social and economic geography is changing for the better. In the State of the District Address, we commit and pledge to double our efforts with a view to accelerate the pace of reconstruction and development in our district. This we do on account of covenant with our people to serve them honestly, meticulously, and judiciously. This will also do in honor of the memory of our departed heroes and heroines who devoted their entire lives to the service of humanity. It is that which cements our conscience of obstinately, obdurately, and tenaciously serve the social, cultural, spiritual, economic, and political needs of our citizens. In the remarkable, prodigious words of Nelson Mandela, let freedom reign, and never let sunset on so glorious a human achievement. Close quote. Thank you for listening to this long State of the District Address.